Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on television. Here on The Point of View, we usually get guests and we ask them questions on things that matter to you. But every now and again, we go straight for the jugular. We tell you what we know based on our research and based on our team's preparations. It's 12 days to election 2020. We have a special show for you today. We're going to walk you through some key numbers. We're telling you the most important constituencies for this election on the basis of the voters register and also on the basis of past voting history. It's going to be exciting. Stay with us.
We delivered 2 healthy kids last night.
Huh? Congrats. Have you heard?
2 kids.
You get free calls from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. for 6 months when you make an Airtel Tigo money transaction on new Airtel Tigo SIMs.
My son has 2 kids. Agwazi. No. Yes, sir.
For all your lengthy conversations, get a SIM today.
Yes, so I'm still talking.
Hi, my name is Salamatu. Yes, these are both me. You see, before free SHS, my life could have taken 2 very different paths. The SHS path depended on how much money my parents had, what sacrifices they were willing to make, and whether they would send me or my little brother Issa to SHS. The other path is what would have become of me if there was no free SHS. But today, thanks to free SHS, my future is bright and promising.
Congratulations, you have an A. He's a boy.
Instead of depending on others, I will stand on my own feet and help my family. Free SHS is where my dreams for a better future and the dreams of thousands of young girls become a reality. Don't let NDC take it away from us. Vote for NPP and give all Ghanaian girls a chance for a better future.
The president has been in the Greater Accra region, incidentally, and Greater Accra is featured heavily in the show today. And he's been commissioning a few things. The Obeche-Bilamte interchange is ready. He's gone to Kokompe. He's visited parts of Amasaman, which will come up strongly in our analysis later on as well. So some of this will give you hints as to why he's doing this. So I'm going to take you quickly to a quick report that some of you have put together on the president's activities today. Then later on, I'll take you to NDC as well. So this is Sami Yafi, who's been moving with the president all the way from the Obeche-Bilamte circle right to the outskirts of Accra, campaigning to the people of Greater Accra. Here's what he brought through.
The president's campaign tour of the Greater Accra region saw him commission the first phase of the Obeche-Bilamte interchange at Abosokan. The project, which started in October 2019, is expected to help reduce traffic congestion in the area. Akufo-Addo used the occasion to tout his government infrastructure record in the road sector.
The completion of phase 1 of the Obeche-Bilamte interchange shows the seriousness that my government attaches towards addressing the congestion within some of the major cities of our country. Currently, the following interchanges are under construction throughout the country. Bokwasi Interchange, which is the first 4-tier interchange in West Africa, is 85% complete, and sections of the interchange will be open to traffic this very week. Tamale Interchange, which is the first interchange in northern Ghana, is 54% complete and is on course to be completed by the first quarter of 2021. PTC Roundabout Interchange in Takrady, which is the first interchange in the western part of the country, is progressing steadily. Nungua Interchange, which is part of the La Beach Road completion project, is also progressing steadily.
From the Obeche-Bilamte interchange, the president moved to the Kaneshie market to interact with the traders and buyers. The president was also at the Kokompe market to interact with the spare parts dealers. At the Abeka market, Nana Akufo-Addo encouraged the market women to vote massively for him and the MPP in the December election.
Why to meet you who are dancing as a man, dear Transremo, Mambedimu Rambo, Mambedia Transremo, no crana de Cachamo, Mediso, and I'm the Besamo Homicide, the Ono Crefo, Unipa, or Car, or Yo. Did I make by the say, Ampa, a Juma Maye, says someone near. Someone who said, my papa, there's someone near Miss Ramo, Mamma, me Quana, me Cosmic Trouble, so 4 more years for Nanano, and yet.
Trade and Industry Minister Alan Chemantin, who joined the president's tour of the Greater Accra region, says Nana Akufo-Addo and the MPP has performed better and needs another term to do more.
So that was Nana Akufo-Addo in the Greater Accra region. Now, John Dramani Mahama has been in the Upper East region for the past couple of days. He's been to Navrongo, he's been to Bolgatanga, and he's really been talking about some of the policies. In fact, today he said that he introduced free SHS in 2015. He's also been attacking this government's record on job creation. He says they've collapsed banks, and he really is not impressed with the MPP. He calls the MPP's record the Sakawa, is the greatest Sakawa, according to John Mahama. So, Ni Ayikwe Okai has been traveling with the John Mahama campaign team, and he also came through with this report.
As part of his campaign tour of the Upper East region, John Mahama paid a courtesy call on the chiefs of Bongo and Bolga Shirigu in the Bolgatanga Central Constituency. He continued to engage some electorates at a rally organized in the communities of Bongo, Bolga Shirigu, and Sirigu in the Chiana-Paga constituency. Some residents who attended the rally say the community has not benefited from development projects under the incumbent government.
The NDC, you can do many things for us. Now, before you came, you see our road, four roads. Need lights for the community all to supply. Before John Mahama did a sit-up, you supply the light. So the other side get the light, but the other side not get the light. Since the government took over, no light for the other side again. So if John Mahama can do, I hope he will get big hospital here, and then the road will do, and then I will market. The market will do big again.
NDC have done a lot when they were in government. One, royal electrification. All about 42 plus communities have been hooked to a national grid. NDC have constructed a lot of small dams, irrigation dams. NDC has drilled boreholes. NDC have tied the Bongo-Bolka road. NDC have built over 100 chips compound. NDC have built more than 100 schools. Currently, we have 7 secondary schools or senior high schools, all established by NDC.
John Mahama, in response, assured that the NDC will continue in its transformation of the Upper East region, particularly Chiana-Paga, if it is re-elected at the polls.
We're going to work on the road. As soon as we come, it's going to be the #1 priority. We have a program we call the Big Push. The Big Push is going to invest $10 billion in social and economic infrastructure over 5 years. And we're going to use it to fix our roads, to build hospitals, to build schools, to connect water to people, to extend electricity to all our people. And so under that program, the Kandiga Road from the Kandiga Junction all the way to Sirigu will be done.
So we have 4 questions to answer today. Which are the largest constituencies in Ghana following the new voters register that was done? We did a show about the regions. Now we have the constituency data for you. Which constituencies grew by the largest, and why did they grow so much? That's the second question we would ask and attempt to answer. We'll also show you the characteristics of these important constituencies by way of their voting history and their dynamics. Then at the end of the show, I'll give you my prophetic 9 constituencies that since 1996 have always correctly chosen our president. 9 constituencies, that's coming up. So let's start. The EC released a list a few weeks ago of constituencies in terms of the voter numbers and the polling station numbers, we noticed a few interesting things. We wanted to find out which were the largest constituencies in Ghana. Well, there are 275. So we wanted to find the top 10 by size. It was an interesting discovery. What I'm going to do first is to show you constituencies with more than 100,000 voters. How widespread are they? Greater Accra is in a comfortable lead. Take a look at this. So if you look on your screen, you notice that Greater Accra region has 18 constituencies with more than 100,000 voters. That's incredible. 18. In total, if you put those constituencies together, that's about 2.3 million voters. The next region with anything close to that is the Ashanti region. It has 5 constituencies with more than 100,000 voters. Now, we also will show you, if you look further down, 3 other regions have 2 constituencies with more than 100,000. So Western region has 2, Volta has 2, Central has 2. Can you guess which constituencies these are? While we play the guessing game, so in total, there are 32 constituencies with more than 100,000 voters. A couple of quick points there. The largest region in Ghana is the Greater Accra region, 3.5 million voters. 2.3 million, or 18 out of the 34, have more than 100,000 voters. That's serious. If the Greater Accra region, the 18 constituencies were one region, they will be the 3rd largest region in Ghana after Greater Accra and Ashanti. Now, which are the top 10 constituencies in the country? Dome-Kwabenya has always had a large population size, but look on the yellow column. 172,848 registered voters. This is the largest constituency in Ghana. An increase of 34,291. That increase is in the green column. Very serious increase in the green column. 34,000 new voters for Dome-Kwabenya. Now, Ashaiman is closely following Dome-Kwabenya with 166,000 voters. Amasaman is your 3rd, 154,000 voters. Now, Amasaman is interesting because if you look in the blue column, in 2016, they had only 86,000 voters. They weren't even in the top 15. Now they have the 3rd largest, and I'll explain why Amasaman is growing so fast. Ewutu Senya East is one of the 2 central regional constituencies with more than 100,000 voters. Ewutu Senya East is where you have Kasua, Hawakumsen, 154,212. When we did the regional analysis, Central region rose from number 6 to about number 3 or 4 because of Ewutu Senya East. Madina, Adenta, Lejokuku follow in that order. Very impressive. In 2016, Madina had 116,000 voters. It had a 35,000 voter increase. Now, Ewutu Senya East had a 56,000 voter increase. Amasaman had a 67,000 voter increase. So these are huge numbers. Just in one electoral cycle. Just in one electoral cycle. Adenta 151,000. Lejokuku 150,000. Now, of these top 10, Lejokuku didn't have such a big growth. Their percentage increase was only 9% because Lejokuku has always been very big. So they jumped from 137,000 to 150,000. Then you are back in Trobu from 112 to 138. Then the 9th largest constituency in Ghana is Prestia Huni Valley. Prestia Huni Valley. This is in the Western region. This is the constituency where the Minister for Tourism is Member of Parliament, Barbara Otinjesi. 136,926 voters. Now, the number 10 in the list is Ketu South. And we know Ketu South. Ketu South has been very controversial. Now, look in the column on your right. Ketu South is the only one of the top 10 constituencies that lost voters. So whereas everybody else increased voters, Ketu South lost 5,196 voters. So in 2016, there are 141,000 voters. They are among the top 2 or 3. They've dropped to number 10. So here are your top 10. Why are these top 10 important? I'll show you why they are important in a minute. But the story here is there's a twofold story we are dealing with. So story 1 is about raw sizes, okay? How many people are registered to vote. The second story is about the percentage increase. So this is a slightly different map. So if you want to look at which constituency executives worked hardest, I don't know which party, but which constituencies people turned out to register more than their previous year, Then Gomoa East is the star here. If you look in the far right column, the percentage column, that's where you should look at, the far right percentage column. Look at it. Their increase from 2016 to 2020 is 86.4%. That's incredible. 86.4%. Almost double. From 58,000 to 8,000. Amasaman we've spoken about already. 78% increase. Why is Amasaman growing so much? We'll explain. Ewutu Senya East, when the lockdown was announced, Greater Kaswa was part of Accra in terms of lockdown. I'll show you why Ewutu Senya East and Gomoa East are growing so big. But 57% increase. Absolutely staggering. So if you are Hawa Kumsin or you are Nakoyo, you are dealing with 154,000 people you are trying to convince to vote for you. It's very, very large numbers. Now, Ningo Pram Pram is not the largest. They have only 94,000 voters. In the scheme of things, they are not even in the top 20. But in terms of percentage increase, Ningo Pram Pram 4 years ago had 61,000 voters. Now they have almost 100,000. So 55,000. We are talking about Dowenya, Afienya, Dawa, and all those places, all these MF's estates and these kinds of places. That's Ningo Pram Pram. 55%. Then there's Domi Abra Obum. Recently there was a confusion at a place called Dom Fase. Dom Fase is in Domi Abra Obum. It has places like Ashalaja. These places are bordered by the eastern region. 50% increase. Then there's Adenta, there's Botiano, there's Shai Osudoku. Now, couple of things. A lot of these numbers are being registered in Greater Accra region. There's one or two in the central region. If you look at the top growers, Achema Kwamuma in Ashanti, 38%. That's in the top 10 in terms of increase. And then there's Bole Bamboy, which is where Mr. Mahama comes from, John Mahama, 36%. So what are we seeing so far? The Greater Accra region is in a very, very comfortable lead when it comes to registered voters. So from 3 million voters, it's increased by 500,000 to 3.5 million. These are the numbers driving Greater Accra's increase. Dome Kwabenya, Amasaman, Botiano, and all these places. These are the drivers. Now, let me show you by way of a map what is going on here, because it would seem as if the increase is logical. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for the increases. So if you look on this map, it will show you first the specific regions where we've had an increase in numbers. Okay, it will show you where we had an increase in numbers. So I've joined the central region to the Greater Accra region, and there's a very interesting map that's showing where you have Ewutu Senya East and Gomoa East, which are adjacent to the Greater Accra region, right? So you're noticing all of a sudden that there is a very interesting correlation between how closer you are to the outskirts of the region to your rate of population growth. I'll show you the map in a minute. So you notice Amasaman, Dome Kwabenya, Ewutu Senya East, and Ashaiman, Madina, Adenta, all these constituencies are in what we call peri-urban Accra. We call it peri-urban Accra. It means that they are not coastal constituencies. They are constituencies with a lot of land. People are moving there. And if you look on the map very carefully, you notice that all these places are within the outskirts of Accra. So if you look on the map, we've joined the central and the Greater Accra region for a reason. Where Ewutu Senya East is, that's the deep pink on your left, is Ewutu Senya East. It's adjacent to Accra. Now, when people migrate out of a center in Accra, there are three places they can go. They can migrate northwards, they can migrate westwards, or they can migrate eastwards. When they migrate westwards, they are going to Botiano, and they are going to Kaswa, they are going to Ewutu Senya East, they are going to Gomoa East. So you notice Gomoa East and Ewutu Senya East appear to have benefited from an out migration. Now, it's not just from the center. It could also be for people coming in from other parts of the country. Now, typically, property and rent is more expensive in the center of town than it is in the fringes. So if you have somebody who's coming in to work as a house help, she's working at Abraka, she may get a cheap chamber and hall at Kasua or Nyanyano. So you notice that there's migration from outside towards that side and from people who want to move out and build houses. So they build estates in the outskirts. So Kasua is really becoming a conurbation, and Ewutu Senya East has benefited from that dynamic, hence the 154,000 registered voters. Now, you can also decide to migrate northwards. So you're talking Adenta, which is up there, Madina as well. You're talking Dome Kwabenya. Amasaman seems to have benefited most because from the Accra-Kumasi Road, if you're going towards in Sawam, Amasaman is really a key place. So after Pokwase, once you get to Kuntunse and you're going to Samsam, there's lots of land, there's lots of people building in Amasaman. Amasaman is very fast developing. That's why I have a 78% increase in voter numbers. It's an urbanization issue. So there you have Amasaman. Incredible numbers. Amasaman is up there. Amasaman and Trobu used to be one constituency. It used to be called Gan West. Later on, it called it Trobu Amasaman, but they split it. Both are in the top 10 because they are all on your way out of Accra. Then Ashaman has always been large, so there's no surprise there. But if you look at places like Ningo Pram, Samuel George's Ningo Pram, also growing rapidly. Shai Osudoku as well. And these are all within the fringes. Katamanso now has 124,000 registered voters. It didn't used to be that large. But if you look at some of the areas in Katamanso, you're seeing lots of new developments. A place like Mataheko, Bechile, beyond Michelle Camp, all the way to Santo. These places have benefited a lot. So when you look on the map, you notice that the closer you are to the coast, apart from Lejokuku, which is number 7 on the list, which is a coastal constituency, in your top 10 for the Accra constituencies, you're seeing peri-urban Accra being the reason for this migration. So far, we are trying to understand the dynamic. Now, the thing about migration is that you don't know the caliber of people moving into a place. So, for example, Georgia in the U.S. always been a red state. Now it's a blue state because we are told younger, middle-class black people moved into Atlanta to change the dynamic. So we cannot predict what Amasaman will be. Amasaman has always been NDC. We don't know what will happen with the new numbers. Okay, we will try and get you specific insight into the top 10 regions when we come back to try and understand who will benefit from the growth. We've picked the top 10. Later on in the show, so I'm going to show you the 9 constituencies in Ghana that always get it right. They've never gotten it wrong once since '96. This is the point of view. Stay with us.
Antiperspirant with the power of black carbon formula, 48-hour protection from sweat and bacteria for a deep, clean feeling that lasts. New Nivea Men Deep Antiperspirant. Nivea Men. It starts with you. Official sponsor of Real Madrid.
What's the perfect gift for our staff employees this season?
All your different caliber of staff. Big question.
I don't want to start guessing what each person needs.
And have to worry where to get what for who when.
Some want electronics, furniture, clothes. Others want groceries, crockery, cutlery.
Hey, how can you tell?
She's a magician. With the Malcolm gift vouchers, everyone can get what they want. Remember, you can get the same bargain prices from any Malcolm shop across the country. Now, everyone can get a perfect gift.
My bro, some double trust system will be upgrade one. Did I cry the 2 meter?
Sir John Mahama ni NDC. Edin kunim December 7th elections here. Eto obetwa.
Na metitin say no wiem say Mahama samba. Eye free SHS no obetwem.
Enya no krebra. John Mahama ni NDC. Ene besisi community day senior high schools. E de share sa free SHS yase. Na fa e den ade ono ade aba no. Wo obesan betwem. your person why ya say oba be yi sa double track system yi every ho wo hye nkwala na de suemu kena e ma ne tumpon me de e me de kura ne say sa activate no technical and vocational education training no eno so be ye free
say they asem de teacher Emilia so what we say you Mahama samba double track system yi obetumi to ase
koko kura ma no John Mahama any NDC and the baby anopa ne area school no every primary any JHS now when want to mean ye teacher Suleiman menka bibi nchiro 430 private senior high schools e wo Ghana etumi fa school for nkwala 200,000 na John Mahama so buy no obesi community day senior high schools mako 46 esan she 50 ase e no no wani no pona na Akufo-Addo buy we twi na ni a 1 pound to aso ye kan nyina bom a etumi yi sa double track system no every ho
teacher Emilia me dem ntumi twan you 7 December be back na ma to ma John Mahama any NDC wo mo no da number 2 na sa traffic light double track system ni die I was said to cha
Tuma John Mahama ni NDC ama ejuma ni inkoso aba ama ye nyina.
Welcome back to The Point of View. So tonight we're trying to show you some new trends in terms of numbers. We've already told you this year we have 70 million voters. The figures we are using exclude the special voting or the additional voting list. So this is 16.9 million voters. Suffice it to say, Greater Accra region, 3.5 million voters. Of the top 10 constituencies by size, only 3 are outside Greater Accra: Prestia, Huni Valley, Ewutu Senya East, and Ketu South. 7 are in Greater Accra. Of the top 20, about 16 are in Greater Accra. Is massive. Now, let's examine this closer. So initially we showed you the top 10 constituencies by way of size. Now, who will benefit from these increases? This is really the question I'm sure you're asking. How is the increase in population going to influence voting? We don't know, but we'll give you some quick clues. So I'm going to show you a few things about the first one, Dome-Kwabenya. Dome-Kwabenya is your largest constituency in Ghana. 172,000 registered voters. It increased by 25%. Key thing to look out for, 2016 turnout. Dome-Kwabenya's turnout at 68% was very similar to the national average. National average was around 69%. So Dome-Kwabenya's turnout is not that higher or lower. So no issue there. Interesting point, Dome-Kwabenya is a strong MPP constituency. What does it mean? It means for the past 4 electoral cycles, it's 65% at least for MPP. 65% at least for MPP, right? So you have a 65-35 split for Dome-Kwabenya. That's very interesting, right? So a 68% turnout. Now, what we're saying is that if nothing changes, of course, 25% population growth, you need to look at where these people have come from. How will they change the character of Dome-Kwabenya? We don't have that information. But the key point is that MPP will be saying, wow, this is the largest constituency in Ghana. And we usually win 65%. If the turnout follows historical patterns, we should be able to get a good margin there. Fair enough. Now, second largest constituency in Ghana, Ashaiman. I'm sure NDC is like, okay, 166,970 voters. They grew by 22%. Again, their turnout was not that bad, 65%. National turnout around 69%. So it's not that, maybe 4 percentage points. Ashaiman is a strong NDC. Apart from year 2000, where MPP won the parliamentary and presidential, Ashaiman always goes to NDC. Ashaiman goes to NDC 60-40. So 60% of votes is what the NDC strong room will be expecting. Okay? Of course, if you can whip up the turnout, depending on where the turnout is coming from, the dynamics will change. But on the election day, when we start hearing the Ashaiman issue, so you can there's a way you can tell what's happening in an election. If you're seeing 50-50 from Dome, you know there's a problem for MPP. Or if you're seeing 50-50 for Ashaiman, there's a problem for NDC. NDC should be getting 60-40 in Ashaiman based on historical records. MPP should be getting 65-35 for Dome-Kwabenya. Anything short of that, you are running into problems. Now, the constituency that baffles me is the next one. Amasaman baffles me because its growth has been unbelievable. Because as we originally told you, it was around 90-something thousand. It's jumped a 78% growth. That is abnormal. I mean, it's the second largest grower in the whole country. Again, turnout is very close to the national average. The key point about Amasaman, though, is that it leans NDC. That means that NDC won comfortably 55 to 45%. Okay, so a bit above 50%. But the gap has been closing. Amasaman, since it became a constituency on its own, was doing around 60-40 for NDC, but it's now come to 55-45. Now, Amasaman's opposite is Trobu, because there used to be one constituency called Ga West, which was then a swing constituency. Somehow, in 2012, they were split into two, and Amasaman leaned towards NDC, Trobu leans towards MPP. So if you see a 55-45, and this is the third largest in the whole country. So the question is, where is the increase coming from? Some of the places in Amasaman are very interesting. Let me just mention that for your education. Some of the places are very, very interesting. So you're talking Maira, Middeer, Akotoshi, Ajen Kotoku, Aikain Doblo, Manhian, and Co. So watch out for Amasaman. Let's run through the rest. So this is a NDC leaning constituency, third largest in the country. Turnout is not too different from the national average. Now this one is a very exciting one. Ewutu Senya East, largest in the central region, fourth largest in the whole country. A 58% growth. Turnout in 2016 wasn't that good, 61%. That's much lower than the 69 national average. This, I say it leans MPP in the sense that MPP has won it twice since it became a full constituency, but the gap is something to look at. It's 55-45. Okay, it's not like a 70-30 or 80-20. So it leans towards MPP. Hawa Kumsin won it pretty well. Now she's facing Nakoyo, a lawyer. This is something that the poll watchers have to take a closer look at because we don't know how it's going to turn out. There was a lot of controversy during the registration. Sometimes when you hear registration controversy, it should tell you that there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake. So there you have it. This is the fourth largest constituency in Ghana. Now, let me go to constituencies that I have lived in before, which I have a soft spot for. So you have Medina. This was quite impressive. Medina wasn't among the top 10 in the previous election. It's grown by 31% to 151,000. Now, quick history of Medina. Medina used to be Ghana North. At the time, MPP won S.O. Dakum. Then when it was split to become Medina on its own, you had Amadou Sorogo winning it 3 consecutive times for the NDC. Then you have Boniface Sadiq now winning for MPP. Medina is a toss-up because I don't know what's going to happen. The margin was very close. Nanado had 50.2%. John Mahama had 49%. Now, what is interesting about Medina is that the MPP parliamentary candidate had almost 55%. So Boniface Sadiq had about 5 percentage points higher than his presidential candidate. And Amadou Sorogo had 6% less than John Mahama. What does that suggest? The popularity of Sadiq was what won the parliamentary for him because the presidential was almost split 50-50. 50.2% for MPP, 49.0% for NDC. And this is the first time that MPP has won this as Medina on its own, right? So, and this is the 5th largest constituency in the country, 31% increase. Some of the new areas, Otinibi, okay, these are Damfa. You are seeing new developments in those areas. That's what is causing this increase in Medina. Let's look at Adenta, another constituency I know very well. Adenta has also grown very seriously. Look at that. 151,000, 46%. Yaobabia Samoa, Mohammed Adamu Ramadan, almost 50% increase in your voters. Where are they coming from? Turnout, 26%. Adenta is also very difficult to predict because, look at it, 51.4% for MPP presidential, 47.7% NDC, very, very close. Adenta has changed. It leans MPP in 1 year, it goes back to NDC for both presidential and parliamentary. So, where are the new numbers coming from? Amrahia. If you go to Amrahia, there's a lot of new developments within the lockdown period. Lots of people moving to that side, okay, all the way to parts of Santor, all the way into even Maijo, New Legon, and all these places. So Adenta is a key one to watch out for. Toss up because it doesn't have a particular leaning. It's kicked out. The thing about Adenta is that it's never retained an MP. So if YB were to win, he would have made history, because MPP comes, NDC comes, it's never maintained an MP. So there you have Adenta. So we'll keep an eye. We can't predict Adenta. It's a toss-up. We may have to do a closer job to know. Now let's run through the rest quickly. Wow. Look at it. This is the only proper coastal constituency in your top 10. Proper coastal. Again, Lejokuku is one of the bellwether constituencies in Ghana. Lejokuku has never gotten it wrong for presidential. Never. Since 96. Can you imagine? Lejokuku has never gotten it wrong. So, boy, 150,000 voters and 9% increase. Voter turnout a little below the national average. It's a toss-up constituency. In fact, Lejokuku voted skirt and blouse. Okoboy won the parliamentary. Mahama won the presidential in 2016. So, and there are lots of votes here. So if you start listening to voter results from Lejokuku and you are told somebody's won 55% for presidential, it's very likely that person is winning the election. So keep one of your cameras at Lejokuku. Keep your camera at Lejokuku. Last election, Vivian Kailoko was at Lejokuku, and it was a very difficult situation where there was countings and recountings and all kinds of things. At the end of the day, NDC won the presidential, MPP won the parliamentary. We don't know what's going to happen this year. Let's run through this quickly as we try and move to the next thing. So the next constituency in the top 10 that is very interesting for us, this is Amasaman's twin sister. 138,000 voters, 23% increase. We are talking about Ofankor areas, okay? This constituency has Moses Enim as MP. And the MPP tends to win it pretty comfortably. It's almost the polar opposite of Ashaiman. 65 MPP, 35 NDC. So if the assumptions remain the same, turnout is pretty decent, 68. So MPP, NDC, this is an interesting constituency because, as I said, when it was one constituency, it was a toss-up, and I don't know who split it, how they did that. This is an MPP constituency. Again, when you have an increase in voters, it can change the character of the constituency. So what you want to look out for is the new areas, the estates. What kind of people are moving there? Where are they from? Now, the problem with all of this is that for the first time in a 10-year cycle, we haven't had a census. So in 2012, we were able to do this analysis and say, look, 2010 census results are in. 16% of the people in Trobu are from the Ashanti region. You can use that to make an extrapolation. We don't have a census. Our census is next year. So you are using 2010 census with the projections. Projections are only as accurate as your assumption. That's why this is going to be very difficult to predict. So there you have Trobu. Let's end with the final two. This is the biggest constituency in the Western region. This is the constituency that the Minister for Tourism is Member of Parliament. Prestia Huni Valley. There's a nice secondary school there called Hunivas. Hunivas. It's a very good school, Huni Valley. Prestia. 20% increase. Prestia Huni Valley is adjacent to Takwa. Takwa and Prestia are very large mining communities. Now, Prestia Huni Valley, I call it toss-up because although the NDC won the presidential, MPP won the parliamentary. So it's a bit like Okoboy's Lejokuku. But if you look at the history, it's voted for both parties in the past. So even though Babrotin Jesse had a fairly comfortable win for MP, NDC did a very decent job in the presidential. So it's a toss-up constituency. And it's grown by 20%. It's a mining enclave surrounded by Wassa Amenfi, Wassa East, Wassa West, Takwa. So Galamsey, big issue there. Seized excavators, massive issue. Very, very important constituency. Keep an eye on it. In fact, Barbara Otinjisi used to be the deputy minister for lands before she was moved to tourism as a substantive. So it should tell you why she was that pick. She's a very strong person in the And to the extent that the NDC won the presidential and MPP won the parliamentary, she'll tell you why she won. Let's end with my final in the top. I think that is Ketu South. NDC 90-10. NDC always wins this. They lost 4% votes, but it's still a very big voter population. 10 out of 2016 wasn't that good, 54%. So those who are working there need to work and decide what to do. 54%, that's very, very low. But you have a strong NDC, 90-10. That's really serious. And now NDC has a new candidate, Jifa Gomashi, taken over from Fifi Kwete. NDC is going to win it. That's very simple. I mean, unless something cataclysmic happens. Now, when we come back, I'm going to show you something very miraculous. I'm going to show you constituencies that always have two groups from 96 to 2016. They never get it wrong. When the country goes left, they go left. When the country goes right, they go right. When the country goes up, they go up. Now, these constituencies are only 9. And they are in 3 regions. Can you guess which regions they are in? They are in 3 regions. Only 3 regions in Ghana. And there are 9 constituencies. If you move this from 2000 to 2016, the constituencies become 11. But they are still in the same 3 regions. So those 3 regions, can you guess which regions they are? I'll tell you when we come back. Stay with us.
Don't forget the balloons,
check,
the DJ,
check,
and the drinks.
Listen, honey, I've got this party under control, okay?
Daddy, don't forget our birthday cake with the sparkly candles. Daddy, are you there?
The party's at 4 p.m., honey. Don't be late.
With the all-new CowPay on the CowBank app and website, you don't have to worry about carrying cash. Just place your order with your favorite merchant and pay with a Visa or MasterCard, mobile money or CowBank account, or scan and pay. Visit the Play Store or App Store and download the CowBank app today. CowBank app. Forget the cash.
CowBank. Forward together.
Hi, my name is Salamatu. Yes, these are both me. You see, before free SHS, my life could have taken 2 very different paths. The SHS path depended on how much money my parents had, what sacrifices they were willing to make, and whether they would send me or my little brother Issa to SHS. The other path is what would have become of me if there was no free SHS. But today, thanks to free SHS, my future is bright and promising.
Congratulations, you have an A. He's a boy.
Instead of depending on others, I will stand on my own feet and help my family. Free SHS is where my dreams for a better future and the dreams of thousands of young girls become a reality. Don't let NDC take it away from us. Vote for NPP and give all Ghanaian girls a chance for a better future.
Where the road environment is not lighted at night, visibility is poor. Drivers rely on the lights of the vehicle to drive at night. The lights also make other road users see the size of the vehicle and make room for it. When it gets dark, switch on your low beam the moment you put on your parking lights. If an approaching driver maintains a high beam, Alert the driver by flicking your beams once. Do not retaliate with your high beam because it will blind the approaching driver who could run into your vehicle. The high beam should only be used when you are the only driver on the road. Stop road crashes now. Stay alive.
This road safety education is brought to you by the National Road Safety Authority.
Welcome back to The Point of View. Today's show is really to just walk through the numbers. EC's list of registered voters, about 16.9 million. This doesn't include the special voters, the last batch, but it's fairly national representative. Greater Accra region, 3.5 million, by far the largest. Accra, Kumasi or Ashanti region, 3 million. Top 10 constituencies for size, 7 are in Greater Accra. The non-Accra ones are Ketu South, Prestia, Huni Valley, Ewutu Senya East. Ewutu Senya East, to all intents and purposes, is in Accra. Of course, it's just adjacent. We've shown you the features of the top 10. Now, what I want to do now is, there are 9 constituencies in Ghana that never get it wrong. Now, we usually don't use 92 as an election because the MPP boycotted the parliamentary elections, and there's a lot of issues about that election. Fair enough. So, 96 is when we had the parliament, so we're starting from 96. There are 3 regions that produce these 9 constituencies. Can anybody guess? Send me a comment. Can anybody guess? Okay. So, yes, you are right. Central region is part. Central region is an amazing, enigmatic region for me. Because if you go to Central region, they have some very key constituencies that always do well. Check it out. 96, NDC won the election. Rawlings. 2000, Kufuor. 2004, Kufuor. 2008, Mills. 2012, Mahama. 2016, Nanado. These are the 4 constituencies in the Central region that got it right. Gomwa East. When we talk of Gomwa East, we're talking about Queensta. No, not Queensta. Queensta is Agona East. We're talking Gomwa East. Kojo Asimeni, MPP's parliamentary candidate for Kojo Asimeni. And this is presidential, by the way, not parliamentary, presidential. Gomwa East never gets it wrong. Guys, this is 6 electoral cycles. I mean, there has to be a reason. Afenyo Markin, Efutu. Afenyo Markin's constituency, where he's going against James Kofi Annan. Presidential, every year we vote. Efutu gets it right. Third is Ewutu Senya East. This used to be Hannah Tete, is now George Anda. Now Gazelle is contesting George. Ewutu Senya West. So Ewutu Senya East is Kasua. Ewutu Senya West is adjacent to it. You have Bojuase, Senya Breku, Ewutu Breku, and those places. Never gets it wrong. Then Agona East, which is where Queen Star Sawyer is the MP. I think she's going against Professor Yanka, if I'm not mistaken. So Central region has produced 4 of these constituencies. Western region has 2. Jomoro is your constituency that's closest to Ivory Coast. Jomoro. This is where Sammy Nkrumah used to be MP. Last election, she got 20% as a 3rd CPP candidate. Jomoro, 96, they went for NDC, 2000 MPP, 2004 MPP, 2008 NDC, 2012 NDC, 2016 MPP. So it looks like they know where the country is. And I'll give you some reasons when I come down to the Accra one, possibly why they are bellwether. But that's Jomoro for you. And now there's an MPP president there. Now, this list included Elembele until 2016. So Elembele, Kofi Boa's constituency, always got it right until 2016. They voted for Mahama. So they left this group. They got Kofi Boa right, but they got Mahama wrong for 2016, so they are not in this group. Shama is just outskirts of Takrady. Shama Ato Pamford, Deputy Minister for, I think, trade or one of the industries. Deputy Minister for something. Ato Pamford is the MP for Shama. There you have it. Always right. Now let's look at Greater Accra. Now, Greater Accra has 3 constituencies that always get it right for presidential. Ablekuma Central is interesting. Now, I was looking at Ablekuma Central, Ablekuma Central's population has grown quite massively. They have 124,000 voters. So they're actually one of the big constituencies. They are not in the top 20. But they lost 6%. So Ablekuma Central lost voters, but they still have 124,000. It has some very interesting places. It has Russia. It has Latebi Okoshi. It has Mataheko. It has Sabon Zongo. Okay. Then it has Abose Okai. So it's a very mixed. So there are residential areas there. There's a couple of Zongos in there. There's a spare parts enclave there. Even parts of town council lane. So it's you know, it's an interesting. I think Ablekuma Central is like a national bellwether. Everything in Ghana is there. Everything in Ghana is there. ICGC is there. The Central Mosque in Accra is also there. You see, spare parts dealers are there. Bishop Bauer School is there. Okay, then you have Radio Gold is also there. And then Zongo is also there. Everything is there. So Ablekuma, and then the constituency in which Citi FM is located, Korle Klottey. Every election year. What is interesting about Korle Klottey is that in 2016, they voted for MPP for presidential and voted for Zaneto. Dr. Zaneto Rawlings won the parliamentary. And some people say, well, because there was an independent candidate, Valentino. If you add Valentino's votes to Philip Addison's votes, it still didn't get to Zaneto. So Korle Klottey preferred MPP for president and chose Zaneto for parliament. This seems to be the way they think. They've never had it wrong. From the days of Teo Okuno to Amano Mante to Ashite. I mean, this constituency is spot on. And then Lejokuku is there again. So Lejokuku is everywhere. They are one of the largest in the country, around number 6 or 7. They are also very accurate with their prediction for presidential. And they are also a very fast growing. Now, if you did this for 2000, if you took out 96, because you said 2000 was a new year, we had a new register. If you did this, Jomoro Shama still maintained their performance, obviously. The 3 still did. But 2 more constituencies in the central region come into the picture. Cape Coast South. Cape Coast South. This is where former Deputy Minister for Trade is. NDC holds the parliamentary seat. MPP has the presidential. Cape Coast South. Okay. Aturikit Hagan, his constituency, Cape Coast South. Ejumaku Enyan Esiam, Kaziel Atu Forsen, NDC. Look at that. They voted for Nanado for 2016, but they gave it to Kaziel. And now he's facing, I think it's Rashid Etuafo. Very, very interesting indeed. So, if you wanted constituencies to look out for, maybe you are busy. You don't want to, you don't want to watch the whole election, and you feel like, Charlie, this is too much work. These are the 11 constituencies you should be. So when you are listening to Citi FM, just ask the presenter, please, I want to know what's happening in Gomoa East. I want to know what's happening in Futu. Tell me what's happening in Ewutu Senya West. Tell me what's happening in Ejumaku Enyan Esiam. Okay, this is, and then of course, Cape Coast South. Now, we are not saying these are predictions. There are a couple of things. These constituencies have succeeded in always choosing rightly. Now, that doesn't mean they will predict the winner. Okay, because as you see, some drop out. When we started, as I said, Elembele, from 96, Elembele was always right until 2016. They got it wrong. So it's possible that some will get it wrong. But it's very interesting to think that there are certain constituencies. I think constituencies that have a mix of everything. Lejokuku has coastal parts. Okay, so you have pure Teshin Shona. Then you have all these estates. Teshin Ungwa Estates is there. Okay, then you have newly developing areas. Now the Teshi Link Road is opened up the area. Lekma Hospital, there's the Bush Road. All the way to Spintex, Flower Pot. All the way to Flower. So think about it. Lejokuku has Flower Pot at the Spintex Road with Palace Mall, through Airport Hills, all the way to this new Regimanal Estate, and it goes all the way to the seashore. So it has everything, right? It has rural, it has urban, it has young, it has old. So there you have it. Lejokuku, Korle Klottey, which is where we are, Ablekuma Central. And the other funny thing here is that in the Greater Accra, Two of the constituencies are very large. Clotical is a bit below 100,000. Ablikuma Central 124,000. Lejokuku 150,000 voters. And then of course you have Jomoro and Shama, which are not that huge. Okay, so it's 12 days to elections. If you're watching this on a Wednesday, if you're watching on a Thursday, it's 11 days to elections. This is the kind of thing we'll be doing from now till voting day. When I come back next show, I'm going to show you the skirt and blouse people. There are some very interesting constituencies that do that, and also some constituencies that always vote for one party. Even if you put a goat there, they will vote for that party. We'll show you some of those things. We have some other numbers for you as well. Some of the constituencies that lost votes or voters, some of the smallest constituencies in the country. You'll be surprised to look at the list. The 10 smallest constituencies in Ghana. We'll be showing you some of those things in our subsequent programs. But stay with Citi, because election 2020, it will be at the Election Bureau. Thank you for watching. Coming up next is actually a replay of the Voters' Diary. Today you had Duke Mensa Opoku with Selom Adonu and Anas Sedu. And interestingly, they're looking at the Greater Accra region. So 7 out of my 10 are from Greater Accra. Selom, Duke, and Anas are going to the Greater Accra region to give you a few more insights into why this region is important, and also follow the campaign activities of the two leading parties within the Greater Accra region. We hope you enjoyed the show. My name is Bernard Avle. Thank you very much for being with us on the show. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Point of View is powered